What's up? This is Witness 2. Thanks for watching this video. It was mainly made because of how quickly I awoke to this hoax. Whether you want to believe it or not, I'm going to tell you my story on a quick awakening to something that really should have happened a long time ago, because of the many times that I just thought things were weird or questioned something quickly. It was what he said about the Challenger tragedy and what the NASA program did right after that. They had terminated it, and I wasn't alive to witness that, but I read in textbooks and I read about it. I had known about it, doing a project for high school on the hoax, the moon hoax itself. And I just kind of was doing most of my research on the first landing, trying to gather whether or not that was real or fake. And I was pretty young and kind of came to the conclusion that the first moon landing, at least, was definitely fake, given the situation America was in with the Cold War and how Nixon was just kind of in panic mode, and we were behind Russia in the space race, so all of a sudden we're ahead of them. Like, it was confusing. And then of course you see like the pictures and the converging shadows. No stars. No one really knows what it would look like to take a picture, but I mean, I feel like you should see stars or whatnot. The gear just looks dated now. The pictures are dated. They might have served their purpose 30 or so years ago. Right after the landing, the propaganda was still good, but it doesn't look real at all. It shouldn't look real to anybody. There's no way in hell that pod went through space. And I feel like everything that I'm telling you now, I had come to this same conclusion when I was very young. And then it's like you slip out of that state. And I don't know if it's that you don't think, I don't know what happens. I really don't, because it's like I completely forgot that they were faking it. And then the Challenger came along, and it's the Challenger tragedy in 1986. And then they stopped the program right after that. And it's like what he says in the video. It's like, why would you stop that? If you looking at the Apollo missions from 69 to 72, we had gone back and forth a bunch of times, taken a bunch of pictures, drove in the car. Like, look at the pod there. Even though it looks like this piece of shit, it really does just look like a space blanket they just taped on there. Like, there's looking at it now, it's unbelievable. People are even tricked by it. But yeah, you just kind of go on through life just not really thinking much of it. NASA really doesn't show themselves much to the public, and I think that's part of why what they do is so effective. But going back to the Challenger, And, you know, having that gut feeling, like, that's just weird. Why would they just stop? What's going on there, you know? Then the video breaks apart the Challenger, or when I first watched this video, right, they're breaking apart the Challenger tragedy. And it starts showing you pictures of the crew member. Well, it starts with the crew members' names and, you know, the article about their death, the tragedy. And then it's like, well, wait a second. Who are all these people that have similar names, if not the same name, and look exactly the same as these people that were in that shuttle? Like, the resemblance is uncanny. You cannot deny that it's them. Like Judy Resnick. She was the teacher, I think. Same mannerisms. What's her name? Did they switch her name at least to keep her hidden? No. She has the same exact name, same mannerisms. It's the same lady. Astronaut professor. She teaches at Yale. And you can look all these people up. I didn't want to believe it. Obviously, like, as a kid, I like science as growing up. Like, you don't want to find this out. So I searched it myself and looked up these people, looked up their wiki, dead astronauts. But then they're alive. One's industrial and systems engineer, teacher or something. It's the guy. I mean, people have it lined up side by side, but so it was hard for me at this point to prove manned missions to space, like, and that's something he reiterates in the video. It's like, no one rides the rockets, and it kind of is true. Like, why don't we just get out there and say it rather than kind of tickle with the fact that they might have not done it? Like, no, they definitely didn't. Nobody's riding the rockets. It's like almost undeniable proof. So then I wanted to look into the unmanned missions, like the drones and, you know, stuff like that. And you kind of have a hard time making a case for NASA there, because there's just a lot of info showing that they never even left Earth, and that they were in Greenland. And if you're looking at the pictures, they look like they're set up in Greenland. It's not just a day event. And you gotta ask yourself, I mean, Greenland looks a lot like Mars while this guy's scrolling through this picture, which you can find online, which used to be attached to a Google Earth location on Greenland, but now it's not. It was harder to find these images before, but now it seems like the images are out there, and there's an article built around it from NASA. It seems as though they're trying to play off that, you know, is just them testing for it, but you can see the amount of quarters they have there, sleeping, ATVs. I mean, they're doing more than test this thing. It looks to me like they're taking the pictures on Earth and just having somebody Photoshop the tint. But you just don't want to feel like you were deceived, and you want to, like, you truly do want to back these guys up. Like, I kind of did, at least. I wanted to make it as though these space hoax people were crazy. But I mean, you see undeniably that it's the Mars project with a pretty big staff, with a lot of equipment out there, a lot of radio control equipment, and looks like they're just fucking around with their rover out there taking what looks to be Mars pictures. It looks like Mars terrain. I mean, there's no pictures. I mean, there's no houses, telephone wires, nothing in the background. They have to do minimal editing. So, you know, if you can't find any good evidence that they launched the thing or it was actually on Mars, let's hear some technical data. Like, let's hear from the conference. And again, you can't really make a case for NASA here. He's the lead engineer, and he can't answer a single question in the audience. This video is online. I mean, I don't even know why, because it's just it has comedic value. It looks like they cast the panel here to be more like TV friendly than anything. Like, this guy I've seen on a lot of Discovery Channels things prior to this, and it doesn't answer any questions. He can't even tell you the format of the video pictures they send back to Earth. It just seems like they're not even on Mars at all. This girl with the red hair in the audience, keep an eye on her, because there's something weird about her. I recognize her. You'll see. So then, if you go to the Mars gallery, again, really no proof. A lot of obscure images labeled selfies, and somehow something is taking a picture of the rover. Don't understand how that's possible. If someone can fill me in on something that the rover does to do that, I don't understand how it's possible. It's kind of funny that they would even leave in the gallery. A lot of the images looked photoshopped in areas and just blended, and don't really show much of the skyline. Don't ever show the sun. Just a lot of images at the ground. Look at, there's another image where who's taking a picture of that? It's a selfie on what? Where does it on a tripod? It sets up a tripod and takes a picture of itself. Again, that looks a lot like the terrain that we saw them in Greenland, just maybe with a little bit of photoshopping. I was starting to get more and more disappointed. Again, these just look like graphic art designs, concepts. Something you would see out in a photo gallery, not like something that a billion-dollar government entity is providing. I mean, like, that last image was negative. Like, this is just proof that, like, they're just showing you how easy it is to change the colors. And I kind of thought this was like a punchline to the gallery, like a mocking. Like, these images aren't from Mars. People, like, you can simply make them yourself here on Earth, but with coloring. And then that image, one of the most telling. I call this the punchline of the gallery, because how was that taken? Fast forward a couple years, basically the same presentation. Slightly smarter marketing team, but there's that girl again. You know, they can't even have organic questions be asked. They have to have plants. It's weird that that girl is in both of the Mars rover and this. These people, very theatric. I have extensive videos on this conference. This took place this summer. It's full of embedded commands. More than a scientific breakdown of what Juno probe is doing. These people give you hand gestures and embedded commands all night. It's brainwashing, and it's meant to entice your imagination. So in conclusion, I kind of just gave you the whole span of the major missions from NASA. And none of them really seem to be authentic at all.